So there is a hybrid version of the Subaru Forester, which is exciting in these times because a hybrid motor usually means you use less petrol and you're emitting less CO2. But not all hybrids are created equal, which is why you should look at the differences carefully before buying a car. It's called the Subaru Forester E-Boxer Hybrid S, and it's the top of the range, costing around $46,000 before on-road costs, which is about an extra $3,000 compared to a regular Forester. It competes with cars like the Mazda CX-5 and Honda CR-V, or if you're comparing hybrids, the Toyota RAV4. Here's how it did for this week's family review. For a more detailed review, head to the CarsGuide website, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe. The Forester looks like a solid car from the outside. There's nothing too fancy about it, but that's not why you're buying a Subaru. It's quite long and it feels like a cross between a station wagon and the height of an SUV. It's one of the only car companies that does this, so it's really carved out a unique niche in the mid-size SUV market. The interiors are actually quite stylish, and while it's not super luxe, it still feels really premium in here. It's the top of the range, so it has all of the inclusions like leather accented seats that are also power adjustable and heated in the front, and you also get a sunroof to let in lots of natural light. I really like the metal pedals. I think they make such a big difference to the whole interior. And while I do think that the center console is a tiny bit fussy with the two split screens, it's not a deal breaker by any means. I still feel great in this car. You get two cup holders in the front, a spot for keys and a phone. You get a large center storage bin that's got this little lift out tray on top and a bottle holder in each door. There's plenty of space in the front seat with enough leg and headroom for both me and the taller members of my family. You don't feel cramped either with the driver and the front passenger. There's a lot of room in between you. My children had enough room in the back seat that they weren't bickering with each other. You know, when they sit close together, they tend to annoy each other. Not in the Forester. I also had enough room back here at 161 centimeters, and there's heaps of room between my knees and the seat in front of me that I think taller adults and other teenagers will also be comfortable here. I was able to fit a third child seat in here. It is tight, no doubt, but you can fit it. I did it with two boosters and a baby capsule, but as always, I'd recommend checking with your seats first because all seats are different. There are two cup holders in the center armrest, plus rear passengers get their own air vents, and there are two USB points back here, which is such a big deal when you're driving long distances with children. There are also two in the front. It's really good. Plus there are pockets on the back of the front seats. The boot is very slightly bigger than a regular Forester, so it easily fits our bulky CarsGuide pram, and there's lots of room left over for groceries and school bags. Unfortunately, there's no spare tyre because there's no room for it. The battery is actually going where the spare tyre would. But what makes a hybrid and how does it work? Well, the electric motor can work on its own at speeds under 24 k's an hour. It works together with the petrol engine at medium speeds, and then at higher speeds, the petrol engine takes over completely. Subaru says the electric motor also takes over if you're coasting along without the accelerator, for example downhill, and the petrol engine will kick in when you hit the accelerator. They say this system saves fuel in urban high traffic areas. But when you compare the fuel consumption of a regular Forester, which is a claimed 7.4 litres per 100 k's, to the hybrid E-Boxer, which is a claimed 6.7 litres per 100 k's, there isn't actually that much difference. And when you compare it to other cars like the Toyota RAV4, the saving is minimal. For me this week, the best that it did was 12.3 litres per 100 k's. It does drive really well, and it takes out all of those things that you may not have been fond of with electric cars. For example, it can coast along without you having to put your foot on the accelerator, and they've also added noise so that when it does creep along on the electric motor, it's not super silent, so pedestrians will be aware that there's a car around. It gets up hills really quickly. It has a 2-litre engine along with the electric motor, which just means that it accelerates really quickly and there's no lag. The steering is slightly stiff, but you do get used to it. By the end of the week, I didn't actually even notice it. I think the electric motor added agility and made the Forester feel more nimble, so it's a benefit if anything, but it's not as an effective hybrid motor as, for example, the Toyota RAV4. The parking is good. Even though the Forester is long, you get a really clear reverse parking camera, and there's also a front side camera, but it is on this split screen, which confuses me a little bit. I'm sure if I drove it for longer, I'd be much better with it. Safety is covered with rear cross traffic alert, auto emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keep assist and blind spot monitoring. There are also airbags to cover driver and front passenger, plus side curtain airbags that go to the back row, and you will find 2 ISOFIX points and 3 top tether points to fix kids' car seats in safely. And there is good technology. Both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard, which means you can plug your phone in for instant access to maps for navigation and a streaming app to listen to music. Turn it up without distortion. The Subaru Forester e-Boxer Hybrid S is a great family car, and if you're looking for something that gives a nod to a hybrid engine but you're still scared about going completely electric, this could be right up your alley. Personally, I would like to see a bit more of the electric motor used, but at least it's headed in the right direction. It has all the interior space and driving acumen we've come to expect from Subaru, and I gave it a family rating of 7.6 out of 10, taking points off because I think you can do a bit more with the hybrid motor. My kids gave it an 8, showed them a blue car and they love it. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel or click through to our website.